So I may be alone in this one, and that's okay. But what I'm really interested in hearing is how everyone else thought about this film if they decide to go see it. Because in my screening, I experienced something that I've never have experienced before in my life with the audience reaction. But what did I think about it? Well, let's get into it. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Queen and Slim is the latest, is the next most anticipated feature film focusing on two Black American characters being pulled over by a cop, which in reality can be a horrific nightmare. Now, this is being directed by Miss Melina Matsoukas. She actually has 67 directing credits. She's known as an American music video, film, commercial, and TV director. She's done things like Insecure. I've seen the first season. I want to continue it, just haven't had any time. She did the video for Beyonce, Formation, and also Master of None. So she's pretty skilled behind the camera when it comes to music videos and things of that nature. But as far as a feature film, this is her first. Now, this film, Queen and Slim, has also been written by Miss Lena Waithe. She starred in the Steven Spielberg film Ready Player One that came out a few years ago. She did a great job in that movie. She's also a writer, and she is the one that was behind this script right here. And of course, guys, you know from the trailers and all the promotions and marketing that this stars Daniel Kaluuya, who was in Get Out. He was also Sicario. He was also in Widows, and I did not like that movie, and I did not like his performance in Widows as well, but I thought he did a great job in Get Out. And a newcomer that I've never heard of before, Jodie Turner-Smith. She's done a lot of television. She's a British actor as well as Mr. Daniel Kaluuya, who also was in Black Panther as W'Kabi. I forgot to mention that. And, those were our two main leads. And, while I first saw the trailer for this movie, my expectations were mediocre. I mean, it looked good. I did a reaction to it. You can, go check that out on my channel. But at the same time, I just wasn't too thrilled with it because, while this centers on two Black American characters, I was just a bit disappointed because if you know me, if it is a Black American character, I want that as roles fulfilled by actual Black American actors and actresses. But this isn't a true story. This is fiction. So, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, but I'll just talk about that a little bit later on in this review. But what is this movie Queen and Slim about exactly? Well, symbol of trauma, terror, grief, and pain for all people across the country. Now, guys, before we get started, I just want to say that my name is Brandon Avery, and thank you so much for tuning in to my opinion/review for Queen and Slim. I really do appreciate it. And if this is your first time finding me and you want more content from myself, like movie reviews, trailer reactions, me responding to entertainment news, or just anything I think is cool, please right now click on that subscribe button and also the bell so you can be notified when I make uploads, and you will be on your way. So after reading that plot synopsis, it sounds kind of fun. It sounds adventurous, like, wow, two Black people killing a cop in self-defense. And, in reality, cops are always shooting Black people for no rhyme or reason at all. I mean, my goodness gracious. Seems like we're going to have a fantasy on our hand, like kind of like a modern day Django Unchained or something like that. But let's go ahead and unpack this. So, we have the writer and director, and you have this plot, this story, this synopsis that we're exploring, that we're unpacking right here. For this to be a good, entertaining story, for people just to be running out of the theater, cheering it on, just like, man, I just want this to be good. This is my favorite movie of the year. Black people, yada, yada, yada. You would think that you would have characters, that the writer and the director would give you characters that you would like, that you will root for, that you will want to succeed and pull through throughout the very end of the film. So first, let's just talk about the characters. First, we have Slim, played by Daniel Kaluuya. And early on, I liked his character. I mean, actually, I liked his character throughout the whole movie. I'm not going to say that I was just in love with his character, but, one thing I like about a movie is when they just get straight to the point, and this film does do that, so I'm going to go ahead and give it credit there. I mean, seriously, we have these two individuals. I don't want to call them a couple, because it's their first date, but but it starts out like the first 10 seconds, they're at a diner eating dinner, and you're getting to know both of them. And Daniel Kaluuya's character, Slim, I mean, he's just really cool, and he's relaxed, and he's confident, but he's the guy that stays in his lane, like, not saying that he can go out in the world and just kind of pull any woman, any female that he thinks he can get, but he's just like, hey, I'm me, take me how I am, if you like me, you like me, if you don't, you don't. It is what it is. I'm gonna try to have a good time with you, but if you're not feeling me, let's just keep it moving. And I'm cool with that. I like that. He's the type of brother to where he's like, hey, I like the women that like me, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. A lot of people, when in the dating world, everybody wants what they can't have. That's not really his character, and so I liked him early on, and I liked him throughout the film. But let's go on the flip side with Miss Slim. No, not Miss Slim, Miss Queen right here. And I got to be honest with you guys. I did not like her character at all. I thought that she was very annoying. I thought that she was a snobbish brat. She was entitled. She kind of just, thought she was better than everybody. I mean, she was a type of woman in real life, which I've met before, and pretty men, you know what I'm talking about, that just wants to get a free meal. She's a type of woman that's just like, I just want to go out with you because I was bored and had nothing else to do, or I'm only going out with you, because there's this other guy that I like, and hopefully he's going to run into us at this restaurant, at this diner, and see me with another guy and get jealous, and I can play all types of games. And that's the way she carried herself, at least through the first half of the movie, and I just really wasn't feeling her. And when we get to the situation where they have the confrontation with the cops, I mean, my goodness gracious, I just have to put all the blame on her. I mean, I like a woman that can speak her mind and is not afraid to put her foot down. But at the same time, there is a time to do that, and there's a time not to do that. And I just thought her character was just idiotic. I mean, some of the decisions that she made early on that started this whole mess, and just throughout the film, I'm just like, what are you doing? Will you please calm down? So I was just kind of really frustrated there early on, like, okay, wow, because it doesn't waste any time. I'm just like, wow, we're supposed to be rooting for these characters, and you wrote an asshole in the script, so I hope there can be some type of redeeming qualities later on, or some type of character reveal, some backstory to where we can find out to where she's like that. But right now I'm just really not feeling you, and that was really ticking me off. But something that I do like about this film, and people are just asking me about and talking about on YouTube, radio, and whatever, is the soundtrack. So that's just another good thing right there. The soundtrack is dope. All throughout the film, every time they dropped a new beat, I was bobbing my head. I think I was bobbing my head the hardest in the whole theater, and everybody else as well. I mean, so I'll go ahead and give some kudos there. Now, early on, I just said that this is being directed by Melina Matsoukas, and she is known as a music director. This is her first full-length feature. And, not to be mean or anything, but it shows, okay? Because it's just, I really just don't think that she's a great director. Now, she can do a much better job than me. I can't do all of that, but I'm just saying, just as an audience member, as me just watching the movie as a regular person, wanting to give you my opinion, it just paled in comparison to everybody else in this space as far as what you're going to be doing with the camera, the cinematography, the angles, and things of that nature. I mean, Daniel Kaluuya and this sister right here, Jodie Turner-Smith, are dark, and I love my dark, beautiful brothers and sisters. Not hating on you, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, all of that good stuff, but the very beginning of this movie was very dark, and I'm just like, I can't see anything. What's going on? I don't like the direction of where this is going, and it's just kind of like clocking me out, and I'm just not feeling it. And like with her direction, there just really wasn't a pop to the film. There wasn't any levity. It was just kind of like dull and dry. Just the energy that she was doing with the camera, I really just wasn't feeling it or whatever. And so next we have the confrontation with the cop. And I'm definitely not one of those people in the camps where, okay, when a cop pulls you over, you need to know how to act. And if you act like this, you can't disrespect the cop because, they'll shoot you. No. There shouldn't be any of that going on in the first place. But at the same time, I want somewhat of a realistic situation that makes sense to me, that most people in this country, especially if you're black, would know what to do. And it just boggles my mind, again, the writing that Miss Lena Waithe, put on the paper as far as what she wanted this character Queen to do. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. We know the cop dies and Slim kills him out of self-defense. But I mean, if a cop's gun is drawn, why are you arguing? Like, what is your badge number? I am a lawyer, and what you're violating our rights. I'm going to reach for my cell phone. I mean, I'm just like, stop it. I mean, seriously, can you have not drawn this out just a little bit more? I mean, this is just like really frustrating to me. And I really just don't understand, why you made these decisions right here. Now, it really seems like I'm just bagging on the film, and I kind of am, but I'll just go ahead and just save you real quick. The second half of the film is much better than the first half. I will give you that. The first half of this film was a bit boring. In my opinion, it was a bit dry at times, but things did pick up later on in the film. And just some of the things that I really didn't like early on in the film is just the amount of negativity that this film focused on as far as the black society, the black community. I mean, it focused on all of the negative things that goes on in our community and just really nothing positive at all. And that was just like a big turnoff for me. And then while you're watching this film, I mean, this is very serious to me. We're getting shot. Both of them were shot for eating ice cream in his apartment. And then just a few miles down the road, I mean, I live in Dallas. Just a few miles down the road in Fort Worth, someone is being shot in her window. Philando Castile, Alton Sterling. I can go down the list of all of these black people, innocent, that are being shot by cops. This is something that I take really seriously, that I take to heart. And so while there's so many jokes in the film as well, I mean, then there were some other people in the movie that was laughing, that was chuckling. And I'm not going to lie, throughout the whole film, the whole 2 hours and 12 minutes, I probably chuckled about 3 times. And I feel at those moments that it was appropriate. But early on in the film, when the rubber is hitting the road and things are supposed to be intense, I don't understand why there's jokes and funny moments in the script. It just doesn't make sense to me. And going back to where I was just talking about some of the negative things that they're focusing on, I mean, we had one father-son relationship where the son was talking to his father like, your mama's a bitch and I got other bitches too. Like, are you serious? Why is that even in the film? That's horrible. Why? Like, that's not funny. It's not clever. Why are you highlighting that? And then you have other scenes where a black man is slapping a black woman. I mean, you have all this stuff mixed up, and I'm just not really feeling it. And the only thing that is saving the film for me right now is the performance by Mr. Daniel Kaluuya. I'm not necessarily, like I said before, I'm not saying that I was just in love with his character, but there was something that made me like him, just so much. I mean, because he stood his ground, and we all know out there that all men and women are not cut from the same cloth. Some people are bold and noble, and some people are cowards, and no one can really just predict how they would react in a certain situation that they've never been in before. If you're just out somewhere at West End, the Fair Park, Six Flags, wherever, and some guns go off, you may get scared, oh my God, shit, or whatever, or you're not just gonna pull your rifle out or your pistol or whatever, or what's going on, let me eliminate the threat. I mean, no one knows what they're gonna do. However, when the crap really went down with the cop and they was engaged in their little scuffle, the way that Slim jumped in to, save the day per se, I gotta give the character respect. I like that. It was instant. It was automatic. It was just no thought to it. I mean, he just did what he had to do to save the day when he killed the cop in self-defense. And we all know this from the trailers and things like that. So that is just another thing that I really did, like about his character early on in the film, and I was really feeling it. I was really feeling that. But to be honest with you guys, something that really just ticked me off to the utmost degree in this film is when I was reading the synopsis. Now labeled cop killers in the media, Slim and Queen feel that they have no choice but to go on the run and evade the law when a video of an incident goes viral. Yes, there was a video that goes viral, but as far as the story progressing, they did not use that plot point to its full advantage. It does not make sense. When you see the film, and this is in the trailers, there's like a little boy like, hey, is this y'all right here? The video goes viral. The film does not do a good enough job as far as letting you know the audience reaction as far as, okay, are these really cop killers or is this self-defense? And the narrative that is being spread throughout the land, throughout this country, is just like really non-existent. Early on in the film, when we're trying, as an audience member, when we're trying to figure out, okay, what is the public opinion, you can kind of hear it on the radio, and right when they're about to drop the jewel, Queen turns off the radio. And I'm like, what are you doing? This just goes to another reason why I am just not liking her character. It just doesn't make any sense. And then a few minutes later, like, hey, I don't know what's going on out there, but whatever they're saying on the radio is not true. Well, if you don't know what's going on, turn on the freaking radio. Turn on the TV and find out what's going on. I mean, my goodness gracious, it just doesn't make any sense. Now, I'm not finna just sit here and say that her character was just a complete moron, because I mean, there was something, I'm not gonna spoil it for you here, that she did that she did that was smart, that was help them be able to evade the law and evade the police. And I'm probably going to say that not everybody possibly would have thought of that, but who knows? So I'll go ahead and give her credit there. But, just her character, with the previous thing that I just said that she did with her decision of turning off the radio, them putting them in this dilemma. I mean, pretty much everything was just her fault, and her not wanting to take advantage of it. I'm just like, I mean, why are you delivering these characters to us that, that I can't root for? I'm rooting for Slim, but I can't root for Queen because, her ego's in the way and she just has an attitude, and I just really don't understand. There also just really wasn't that much chemistry between the two characters. I mean, they tried to kind of flirt with a little love at one point, but I just wasn't feeling it. However, another frustrating thing for me about watching this movie is it just was not consistent with the tools that they used to tell the story, and also the way the characters interacted with themselves. Let me give you a few examples. For one, they're driving across the country, trying to get away, trying to escape, just, trying to evade the law. And sometimes Queen is just like, hey, we don't have time for this. We need to keep moving. We can't stop here. We need to go. But then later on, she's like, oh, let's just take a break. I want to go ride horses or look at the sunset. I'm just, wait. 10 minutes ago, you was yelling at the brother, saying that you're in a rush, but now you wanted to take your time. But now you're in a rush again, and now you want to take your time. They kept flipping back and forth like that as well. Same thing with Slim or whatever. At times that he was just like, okay, hey, we're in a rush. We don't have time for this. But then, oh, no, let's go over here to this club. Let's dance. Let's sing. Let's do this. Let's do this. Like, wait a minute. Like, how can both of y'all in one scene say that you're in a rush and you got to move, but then the next scene you want to take your time, and then the next scene you want to move, and then the next scene you take your time? That just doesn't add up right there, and it's not consistent. Now, something that the director did, which I thought was very clever, is that when there was a moment of intimacy between the characters, instead of the director using the characters' words to express their thoughts, she used their minds to express how they felt, when they was, dancing in one scene. And I thought that was very moving. I thought it was very clever. It's actually something that I can't really say I've seen before as far as two characters and their dynamic and how, they're relating to each other. And I thought that this was like a special moment that these two characters, could mesh with, and click. But later on in the film, she used that same device of sound with other characters, and I just kind of thought it was random. I was like, okay, wait a minute, this is just not consistent. Like, you had it earlier and it was perfect before, but now it's kind of just like watered down and diluted, and it just really doesn't have the same impact. Once you see the film, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, but that was a turnoff for me. But just another thing that I thought was inconsistent in this film was the social influence they had on the youth and everybody else that they came in contact with. There was like a little boy in this film, like a teenager, and the dialogue that was going back and forth between the three of them, I thought it was great. Like, man, y'all are my heroes. Y'all give us hope. We know it was self-defense. And that's just great. I like, when someone can look up to someone, in a higher light and be like, okay, this is somebody that I want to model after. But no. A few minutes later, or just later on in the film, they had to exaggerate that in a protest. And I'm just sitting, I cannot remotely even tell you what happens in the film, but I'm just like hitting my head. So I was like, why? Why would you do that in all of protesting history, of all people protesting around the world? Well, I don't want to say around the world. I'll just say in this country right here, especially in the past few years, nothing like this has happened before. So why would you put this in the film? You know, this is not uplifting. This is daunting. This is depressing. You know, like, why did you include this? This is not making me feel good. This is making me feel sad. This is not a true story. This is fiction. You could have made this up and given us something more satisfying, but you didn't, and you're just kind of just taking us down this hole. And I don't know. I just don't understand, like, why it was included in the film. Why, you know, Lena Waithe and or the director will put this in the script. It just really just boggles my mind and just makes no sense to me. But other than that last bit right there that I just mentioned, the second half of the film is better. We do get to know Queen a bit more, and, you know, just kind of some trauma that happened to her in the past, which could possibly warrant why she's such an asshole. But at the same time, and I don't mean to judge anybody or tell anybody how they should react to a certain situation. However, whatever happens to you does not give you an excuse just to be mean and evil or just rude to anybody else. Okay, everybody goes through stuff, and we're supposed to be there and help each other out. And just kind of the way that she carried herself, I couldn't get on board with it. I couldn't get on. I mean, if I don't like this film, her character, you know, would be a main reason for it. I'm not going to just say her acting was bad. I would be lying. I'm not going to say that. Like, I thought that Cynthia Erivo's acting was horrible in Harriet. No, I'm not going to bag on the film or the acting, you know, in this film, Queen and Slim, because, you know, her acting was fine. Daniel Kaluuya's acting was fine. I mean, the acting across the board was fine. And there are also just a lot of things that they did get true as far as, you know, the black community. It's just that they focus on all the negative things too much. It's, you know, black people taking over advantage of other black people, you know, when they're down, and, you know, just throwing them under the bus. And, you know, but at the same time, you know, there was some black people. Actually, I'll take that back. You know, there was 2 moments to where, you know, some black people did have some other black people's back. So I actually have to take that back. But it just really wasn't a good mix in my opinion. And it really ended frustrating. But the thing that really bothered me the most is, let's just take a real life example, the Philando Castile incident, to where his girlfriend Diamond, you know, was recording the video after the fact, and there was a lot of opinions about that. The video that they used in this film was so blatantly obvious that it was just self-defense. There's just no way in hell it can be interpreted any other way. And they did not take advantage of that in the script, which takes away a lot of the logic in the plot. I mean, for them to be considered cop killers, there's just no way. No way, Jose. Now, we all say that in real life, like, okay, yeah, the guy was innocent. Of course, and they are. You know, we have video footage all the time. But I've never in a million years seen it be this blatantly obvious. And that's fine, but it's just the film did not take advantage of that. I mean, there is just no way in hell that you can say that, you know, that the Queen and Slim or their characters, you know, were the ones that were provoking the cop early on in the film. There's just no way. And the script, they did not use that device to their full advantage to express the story throughout, and that was just really just frustrating to me, and something that, again, I cannot get on board with. But then we have the ending of the film, and honestly, guys, I thought the ending was horrific. I just don't understand, like, a black director, or black, half Jewish, half Jamaican black director, Lena Waithe, black writer, and a black cast. I mean, this is a Comcast film, and I'll talk about that in a second, but for the people involved in this film that put it together, I don't understand the point of making this film with how it ended. I mean, my goodness gracious, I just don't get it. What were you thinking? I left this movie depressed. I'm going to talk about the audience reaction. And, you know, it was literally split down the middle when I was just saying that I've never experienced something like this before. it wasn't looking good. And then at one point, towards the very end of the film, something happened, and of course, I'm not going to say it. There was a woman on the front or the second row of the theater. I was kind of sitting towards the back. That's kind of my favorite section. Real loud. I don't want to just say the word. She was like, "Man, F that." And she literally got up and stormed out of the theater. I am not lying. I've never seen nothing like that before in my life. And then I'm in the middle of my row. Half of my row to my left got up before the movie was over. They didn't storm out, but they walked out in disgust. And I was just like, man, I don't blame you or whatever. And when the film finally ended, it was like an awkward clap, just like, it wasn't like, oh yeah. It was just kind of like, oh, nobody else gonna clap, okay. It was kind of like people felt obligated, to clap or to applaud the movie. Now, when the credits finally started rolling and people was getting up and walking out the theater, everybody was quiet. Everybody just seemed like they got the heart punched out of their chest. And then people started talking about it. I was like, oh man, the film was great. And I heard another person, oh, the film was good. I was like, oh man, the film was amazing. And I was just like, wow. But the way they were saying it was just like they was depressed or something like that. And I'm just like, this is just really interesting. When we're walking out the film, they have the people that work there from the studio, and also the middle team, the marketing, director and their company giving comments. I gave my comments just like, why I was just disappointed. And I gave my reasons, which I just expressed in this review. And I just had to talk about other people. And I met these two brothers who have a podcast called the Magic Blue Podcast. I looked them up on Instagram. You can too as well. And we were just talking about it. And while they kind of they was talking to me like they just got their ass beat. Just like, I was like, man, what y'all think of the movie, man? That was like, oh man, I thought it was great, man. And yeah, he's like, yeah, I thought it was good. But other dude was like, but man, I'm tired of seeing this, man. I'm really tired of seeing stuff like this. And I was like, oh yeah, I was like, it's kind of interesting that you say you thought it was good and it's amazing, but you're tired of seeing this. He was like, yeah, man, I want a fantasy, but at the same time, they can't give us a fantasy. I was like, why not? It's like, seriously, I mean, in my opinion, the film could have just ended, much better. And then we all agreed when we were saying, but yeah, there was a lot of real stuff that was going on that we just didn't like. That is true in the black community. It's just, I don't like that the film focused on it too much. It's just, you could have focused on more of the positive when you just focus more on the negative. And it ain't our fault. Just like Dr. Aaron D. Johnson said, what has been done to black people in this country around the world is profound and multifaceted. We are in a quagmire, and we have to figure out a way to get us out of here, and like Nelly Fuller just says, it created monsters and monstrosities among us, and there are monsters in this film and there are monstrosities. But guys, I really just don't, I mean, there was somebody on Twitter, I don't know, I think it was on Twitter that said, I think it was either the Harriet movie or just another black movie before this. I think he either worked for some college or something, some university. And he was like, all these black movies or these slave movies, are they really made to uplift black people and to show our history? Or are they there to keep black people, in their mental state or to keep us down? I say that to say is I feel that this movie was made or approved by NBC Universal, by Comcast, to keep us down, to make us feel like we ain't shit and we're never going to amount to anything. That's just my opinion, though, because there were other people that loved the film, like I said. Okay, yeah, there was some people that stormed out, but there was a lot of people that said they loved the film. They thought it was amazing, thought it was good, they thought it was great. I'm split down the middle. So if I had to rate Queen and Slim out of a 1 out of 10, and this is just my honest, unbiased opinion, I'm going to give this thing a 5 out of 10. Yes, a 5 out of 10. I mean, it just wasn't, I kind of want to give it a 4, but, I just don't understand why would you end the film this way? What was the reason? You didn't have to do it. You didn't have to just give us some fantasy to where they grow wings in their back and fly off into the sky, or mow down a bunch of. I just don't understand, man. I drove home upset, mad, and frustrated and disappointed. But like I said, guys, that is just my opinion. So, guys, are you anticipating this film? What do you think about the casting? What do you think about the director? What do you think about the writing? What do you think about my review? Also, guys, this is a Comcast film, which right now is trying to erase the 1866 Civil Rights Act. I spoke about that in length in my Harriet video. Please look up interviews on Roland Martin's channel about that with Byron Allen, and also the Breakfast Club. Just YouTube it and do your due diligence. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, please go ahead and give me the thumbs up. Also, please consider subscribing to the channel. Please help me reach 15,000 subscribers, and then we can move on to 20. And look me up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All that good stuff is right there at the bottom of your screen. It's in the description box and also in the pinned comments. I also watched the interview with Lena Waithe on the Hot 97 YouTube channel. She stated that she feels that Black Americans complaining about Black British actors fulfilling the roles of Black Americans is divisive. My sister, I know you was born and you grew up in Chicago, Illinois, but I just don't understand that. What are we supposed to do? Just continue to suffer in silence? I mean, if something is important to us, why shouldn't we get things that are important to us, in our own land, in the country that we built, the richest country in the world? We don't have any money. It has sentimental value to us. This is for economic reasons, and also, I could be wrong, but I just feel that a Black American can always just fulfill the role of a Black American than anybody else. Yes, we are all in this together, and you made a comment where it doesn't matter because if a cop pulls us over, he's not going to decide if he's going to shoot us or not, if we have a British accent or not. No, of course not. That's why I got your back. But at the same time, I do have a right to, want to represent my own self, my own people, and my own country. I'm not saying that you're not one of us. I'm just saying, if I'm in Nigeria, Nigerians go first. If I'm in Mexico, Mexicans go first. If I'm in Canada, Canadians go forth, so on and so forth. But guys, again, I just want to thank you so much for tuning in to my opinion/review for Queen and Slim. And before you go, don't forget to always chase your dreams, because I'm chasing mine. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.